He defended the U.S. as a Marine. He protected the streets of Chicago as a police officer, and now he supports those in need as a TV host. I talked to Steve Wilkos about his show and how his background brought him to where he is now. Steve, hello from Rochester.
Right. How you doing, Evan?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, military career, Marine, police officer, talk show host. At what point in your long and vast career did you think you were in the most danger, and why?
Well, fortunately for myself, when I served in the Marine Corps, was during a long stretch of peacetime. Very physical, rigorous demands, but never in danger. As a policeman, I was in a lot of dangerous situations, a couple of shootings and things of that nature, some serious physical confrontations. But so that would be the most dangerous. I always say about the Springer Show, there were some good fights, but I said most of the time it was like two chickens pecking at each other, so never felt too threatened.
But what about on your show? What about the Steve Wilkos Show?
You know what? We don't have physical confrontations. I mean, it gets very heated, and you know, we have some very tough, shows. But I never. And people ask me all the time, "Are you afraid somebody's going to hit you?" And I've been hit about 1 million times in my life between being a policeman and on the Springer Show, so I'm kind of used to it. Being hit does not scare me too much.
How much does your experience in your career pre-Springer and pre-Steve Wilkos, how much does that help you to deal with and mitigate what you're dealing with every day?
Well, being on the Springer Show just helped me getting used to being in front of the camera. Being on TV can be intimidating, but being a police officer, that really made me the host that I can be, because a lot of what I did as a police officer, I do on my show. We interview people, get the story out, find out the truth, wade through all the stuff that people say. And that experience and dealing with people just on a daily basis and talking and interviewing all the time helps me be the host that I am. And honestly, not being wanting to be in the entertainment field, being a policeman and doing the show I do is, I think, the only way that I could have been successful is basically being the cop on the street and transforming it to being a cop on a TV show.
Which guest on your show have you either regretted or been the most surprised at?
You know, I don't regret anything that I do on my show. We did a show where there was a father sleeping with his own daughter. A lot of times I don't have physical reactions to a typical show. I'm involved in it emotionally, but this one show where father was out of his daughter's life and entered many years later and started a sexual relationship, that actually nauseated me. Didn't care for doing the show so much, but felt that it was necessary to expose him for abusing his daughter physically and mentally. So it was something I felt that needed to be done. But yeah, inside my body, when my stomach was turning, was not a pleasant feeling.
And you know, I think that shows a good example that I think you've got, from what I've been able to talk to, especially people who watch your show here, you've got people who watch your show because they think it's great theater. You've got people watch your show because they learn a lot. And then you've got people who are sort of turned off because they think it's tawdry. What would you say to the critics who say, wow, why do you have to put that on television?
Well, I don't hear a lot of people complaining about the show Cops on TV, and they're basically interviewing the same type of person and involved in the same type of thing. The only difference is we're not on a street of some city, we're on a stage in a TV studio. We help a lot of people, I believe. A lot of people are very relieved when they come on the show. They get answers, they get help. So if people want to criticize that, they can feel free. You know, a lot of people don't like the police. When I was a police officer, people don't usually like when they see the police roll up to your house or knock on your door. So a lot of people didn't like the police, and I didn't really care about that either.
And Steve, are your guests surprised to find out what a soft, gooey heart you actually have?
I think people in my personal life find that out, and they're surprised by that, but not too many people on my stage.
Continued success, Steve. Thanks for sharing the time with us, and we'll see you on the air.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, you could say our next guest learned from a master. Steve Wilkos is a former cop who ended up doing security for a show that needed it most. The Jerry Springer Show. Eventually, he got a talk show of his own, and now he's in his third season right here on CW 16 every day at 11 a.m. He talked about his new season with Holly Maynard.
Congratulations on a third season.
Thank you.
And I know there are so many serious topics that you talk about on your show. You've got guests who have so many serious problems. You've helped them make a lot of life changes. Are there some that stand out for you these past couple of years?
Well, we did have one show that at the end of last season, season 2, we had a beautiful young woman that was involved in a really hard domestic violence relationship. Mm-hmm. And it was almost comical to see how this guy was acting, very stereotypical of, you know, I'm the man, you're going to do what I want, you know, you're nothing. And at the end of the show, like, we offered to get her a place to live and get away and get some counseling. And at the end of the show, she picked him. And it was, for me at that moment when she walked off the stage with her boyfriend, it was very frustrating. I felt like, oh, I didn't do enough. Mm-hmm. But the great thing was, and we just updated the show, which will air pretty soon here, he went back home and said, you know, I watched that show, Steve, and you really made an impact on me, and I've changed my ways, and I'm treating my girlfriend much better, and they got engaged on the show, and she says that he's treating her wonderful now, and he's getting counseling for his anger issues. So it's nice to know that even though it seemed like we failed at the end of that show, that it came together and mm-hmm. it made an impact on his life.
Yeah, not only their lives, but you probably also impacted millions of other people, the millions who were watching. Perhaps another couple was in a similar situation. Have you found that?
Well, the thing that I found interesting lately is the young people, teenagers, young college students, where this show is making a big impression on them. That's the thing that I'm getting a lot when I'm out in public or making appearances. These young kids today are saying, your show's really made an effect on me. I hear it all the time, young men and women saying that they want to serve our country, go into the military or become policemen from watching our show. And it's great that a TV show can have effect on young people's lives like that.
For people who perhaps haven't seen it yet, why don't you go over some of the other topics you also delve into? It's not just domestic violence.
You know, it's anything that a policeman anywhere in this country would deal with during his 8-hour tour. We deal with child molestation, domestic violence, child issues, people that have problems with their parents or vice versa with their children. So really anything that a police officer would come across, we've done shows that have been very satisfying for me, almost like doing a Scared Straight program, where teens out of control, and we took them to Wayne County Jail in Detroit, mm-hmm. and kind of scared them straight. And the parents we'd contact them later, and they're like, their children are wonderful and doing good in school, and it's great to, you know, before a child gets too far down the wrong path, that we can make an impact and get them right back on the right path.
So how much of a change is this for you, going from Jerry Springer years ago to now your own talk show in its third season? How much of a change was that?
Well, I mean, doing the two different type of shows, the Jerry Springer show is the circus, the just having a good time. But when I was on Jerry Springer, I was still a policeman. So when I got done with doing the show at Jerry Springer, I was out on the streets of Chicago helping people. And so now, which is doing my show and helping people, I feel like it is an extension of my police career. So to me, it's not a lot has changed, except I have a lot more free time for my family now.
Well, and the location has changed, right? I know you were taping in Chicago, but now you're going to be taping in New York?
They moved us from Chicago to Stamford, Connecticut, where we tape the show now. Okay. And I had never been to Connecticut, so I was a little nervous about that. And I'm born and raised in Chicago. Mm-hmm. But my family really loves the East Coast. We've adapted quite well, and my kids are very excited where they're at now. So it's been an easy transition.
Yeah, I'm actually from Connecticut, so you're not saying anything bad about the state then, right?
I love where we live. I mean, we're close to the ocean. I'm close to Stamford, Connecticut, so it's a nice short commute. And really, the state of Connecticut has really welcomed me and Jerry and Maury all with open arms, and it's been wonderful for all of us.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to that third season.
Thank you very much.